Hello everyone and welcome back to the stream. It is, what is it, Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. And you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. I suppose I should actually, put the class plan here in front of me. Class plans, crazy. Some weeks I'm better at this than others. It's one of those things that you have to sort of build up as routine and as discipline, we talk about that a lot. And sometimes I'm okay at that and sometimes I'm not. Hey Steve, good to see ya. Or what emote is that one? That's a different one. It's purple with sunglasses. Yo, all right. Oh my goodness. Hi everybody, we've made it through half of the week. Barely in some cases, but we made it. Yeah, it's definitely one of those days for me where I both really could use some exercise to just knock stuff out of my head, and also probably would have struggled a lot more to get on the mat if I wasn't literally teaching class. So it's yeah, hey, you know what? I am looking forward to when I can have emotes on this channel. My very wonderful graphic designer, Michelle, and I are going to be working on some. And of course, it'll be a bit before that happens because I don't think you can do that until you have affiliate status. But there, I have ideas. I have ideas for what can be used. And I'm looking forward to that. It's one of my favorite things about things like Twitch and Discord is the personalization of these spaces. Thank you, Steve. See, Steve knows what's up better than I do. I'm just literally this whole year, my friends, has just been me riding on riding on a wave of, well, let's see where this goes. And I'm still there. Even if I'm trying to steer slightly more than I was, back in March, I think, when I started to do this. It's just, let's see where this goes. Oh, cool. Steve, I don't think I realized that you had affiliate status. That's freaking awesome. Cool. Anybody who's here should go follow or subscribe to Steve's channel. I have no idea what he streams. I should go to one of your streams. Oh man, I'm getting better as a member of the Twitch community. I'm watching more streams live, which is fun. Participating in chat and all that jazz. So, again, just riding this wave. Riding this wave wherever it'll take me. Yeah, it's been kind of a rough day for a variety of reasons, including the fact that it's the 14th anniversary of my grandmother dying, which is just sort of hit me this year. She and my grandpa, they spent their whole lives doing social justice work and fighting for civil rights and stuff like that. Worked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and I don't know. I hope she'd be proud of me. And there's a part of me that is glad that she's not here to see the shit show that is 2020. But part of me really wishes that she was, because she was utterly uncompromising on justice. She would call you the fuck out, and she wouldn't hesitate, and she never hesitated to fight. She never hesitated to stand up for what was right. It made her a very intimidating person to know. There's sort of that popular culture impression that people have of grandparents as the ones who spoil the grandchildren. Not my Grammy. Um, but I was always just in awe of her and in awe of everything she did. And I miss her. 14 years is a long time. I was a senior in college um, when she died. It was, you know, I remember exactly what had happened the night before. I remember exactly where I was when I called my mom and heard the news. Like my cousin went to the same university I did, and we completely coincidentally had scheduled a brunch together that day, and that was honestly really good because we just we met up and we sat at brunch and just sort of were able to be with somebody who knew her and who knew what an impact it was and what a loss it was. So yeah, so you know what, this stream is dedicated to my Grammy. She was an incredible human. I miss her very much, even though it's been a decade and a half almost. Still miss her. I always will. Wow. Yeah, Steve. It was right. Obviously, I mean, it's December 16th right now, so obviously it was right at the end of first semester, my senior year, and like I'd literally stayed up all night because there was some like movie viewing thing in the TV room, and went back upstairs and got like 2 hours of sleep, and then woke up to a voicemail from my mom. So let's dedicate today's stream to all of the wonderful and formidable grandmothers who are no longer with us, and the ones who are, but the ones who we looked up to, and the ones who we hope are proud of us, even if they're not here anymore. All right. If I keep talking about this, I'm just going to start weeping on stream, and that's not really conducive to working out. So we should work out. Oh, I missed your message about what you stream. Nice. Ocarina of Time randomizer. I know some Zelda obsessives who would love that. Okay, so if you like Ocarina of Time randomizer runs, or maybe someday a Diddy Kong Racing speed run again, who knows, go follow Steve's channel. Weeping burns calories. Thank you so much. All right. It's harder for me to lead you all in a calorie burning weeping session. So instead, let's go through our pre-class checklist. Do you have your water in whatever vessel? You can tell that my mason jar is still in the dishwasher. But oh man, I need water, and I bet you do too. Got your comfy clothes on. We got our mat, or a mat-sized space on the floor back there. And if you use a fitness wearable, let's turn them on now to high-intensity interval training. If you're new here, hi, welcome to Jump Around. It's a cardio class, body weight exercises, lots of fun, super high energy. If this is your first class, or you are still within your first month, I'd say, what I want you to focus on is not giving me 110% or 120% or even 100%. What I want you to focus on is the bare minimum, which consists of 3 things: starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. If you just focus on those 3 things, you will get an amazing workout and hopefully want to come back to class another day. So with that, let's get into the warm-up. It's the same warm-up every time, so that also provides a nice through line through class. Hi! See, okay, so 2021 will be the year of streaming, and we'll all just host each other's streams and raid each other's streams, and we'll create our own little pocket of Twitch. It'll be great. All right. See, you're trying to distract me with all this Twitch talk when I know what is up. I know what we need to be doing. We need to be warming up. My feet are so friggin' cold. It's cold outside, my friends. I look forward to having a streaming setup that is not right by a giant glass window. All right, so everybody on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and we will begin when the timer goes off with our hip rocks and bridges. Oh, and gently cracking my shoulder. My shoulder is definitely feeling better now that it's sort of settled in after last week's chiropractic appointment. It definitely is overall much better, and sort of I can feel things moving in there better, which is the huge thing, you know, like I carry stress and tension in my shoulders and neck. I always have. And so, you know, you get to this point where basically everything is just this giant sheet of, you know, rock hard knots in your muscles. And the chiropractor definitely helped to loosen some of that up so that some of the discomfort that I was feeling, all right, switch feet, my friends, some of the discomfort I was feeling, I think has been able to work its way out of my system a little bit better. So that's really good. It's still, you know, mind-blowingly frustrating to me that I had to go through so much soul searching before deciding to go because of our country's absolutely terrible handling of everything surrounding this pandemic. But you know, again, as much as I could feel safe in an external environment, I did feel safe, and that was really good. You know, it wasn't that I was, all right, Jane Fonda time, let's get those legs lifting. It wasn't that I was going into a space where, you know, people's masks kept drooping off their noses and all that stuff, which I have definitely seen in plenty places. People who, you know, 9 months, 9 months into this friggin' pandemic still haven't bothered to get a mask that actually fits securely over their nose, which is just charming. But no, nobody at the rock gym was making me feel uncomfortable at all with regards to spacing etiquette, with regards to masking etiquette. I was incredibly proud, you know, and it was nice to feel like if I did need to go back for another session, you know, if that, all right, top foot flat on the floor in front of the bottom knee, we're lifting that bottom leg. If that session hadn't worked through as much as it did, I would have felt comfortable going back for another visit. I still may go back for another visit, although I may wait until the new year. But yeah, I would like to keep working on this. You know, we talk about how it's not a one and done situation, obviously. And, you know, I certainly don't want to be over here not taking care of this chronic injury. I want to be working with it. I want to be improving it. And I have been, which is good. You know, going into that appointment and having her do the strength tests that she had been doing on my shoulder, and just feeling the difference from the last time I saw her to today, or last week rather, was really exciting. You know, I could tell that all of the work that I've done, both with the PT exercises and then just with these streams and this, you know, consistent workout routine that I have, all of that really has helped me to strengthen my shoulders, and that's huge, and that's going to help me a ton as I go forward. Now I would love to get to a place where I can, you know, lift my chin and not feel pain in my neck and shoulder. That would be the next thing that I would like to achieve with this work. So keep your fingers crossed that that the effort continues to be effective. All right, switching over to our second side, going back to Jane Fonda. If your current working leg is feeling a little fatigued, well, that's because this is the third time in a row that this has been the working leg, because it was the bottom leg on our first side, so it did 2 intervals in a row, and now it's the top leg over here. So it's one of those nice little points that you can start to notice as you improve your strength and your stamina through class. You will notice as you feel that fatigue less and less. You know, as your legs strengthen overall, it's not as noticeable that this is the third time that I've been using this leg as the working leg. And that's really cool. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Foot flat on the floor, knee pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Remember, we are working on knee positioning in a nice, safe place where, you know, we're not standing, we're not putting any pressure on this leg. So if your knee is caving forward, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. But I want you to really engage the muscles in your hip and pull that knee back as much as you can. Get the glute engaged there too, and really try to keep it pointing up towards the ceiling and going straight over the foot, okay? Because when we stand up and we start doing squats, we're gonna need to be able to maintain that knee positioning. So now is a good place to practice it, where if we don't have it perfectly, it's not the end of the world. All right, finally, last but not least, for our leg sequence is our beach pose. Nice and chill. We don't have to worry about balance because we got this foot flat on the floor back there. We're not having to, you know, pull, really engage the hip to keep that knee nice and stable. So we can just sort of chill here. You know, we're not worrying about rolling backwards or forwards, so we can just focus in on lifting that leg, noticing all the different muscle groups that are involved in lifting this leg. Some of them that we'd expect, feeling it here along that inner thigh, a little bit moving into the top of the quad. Some of it that we wouldn't necessarily expect. You may feel a little bit of activation here in the lower internal and external obliques. So just start to notice this stuff. It's fun. Anatomy is fun. And, you know, the fact that our bodies can do any of the things that they can do is really remarkable. All right, we are now moving into our active stretch section. There we go. English. I usually speak it. So we're starting with our scorpion twist. Well, we're halfway through our scorpion twist at this point. So make sure those elbows are planted on the floor and they are not lifting up for any reason, okay? And then you're twisting as far as you can, trying to get that foot flat on the ground, trying to get that knee pointing up towards the ceiling, but never letting the elbows come up to do that, okay? If they have to come up, then you can't twist that far yet. All right, standing up. We were talking about the lifespan of spandex yesterday, and I can tell that these are some of my much older workout pants because they do not have a lot of structure to them anymore. So if I'm constantly hiking up my pants today, that's why. And that's fine, you know, it doesn't really get in the way. And we've talked about, you know, when I tell you to have your comfy clothes on at the beginning of class, it's really whatever that means to you, you know? Again, accessibility is a huge thing from my perspective and is something that we don't put enough emphasis into in the fitness community. So if you have the money to be buying exercise specific clothing, if you really like a lot of technology in your workout clothes, moisture wicking and, you know, odor reducing and all that stuff, like, go for it. If you are perfectly fine in, you know, a ratty t-shirt and a pair of shorts, awesome, go for it. There is no reason to buy all this stuff if you are comfortable just wearing stuff that you already own, okay? And then we don't play into the fast fashion market, which is also something that it's good to minimize. So yeah, everybody wins in that instance. All right, throwing down those imaginary PVC pipes, and let's go into our Samson stretches. Really feeling that stretch along the front of the hip flexor for whichever leg is extended behind us in that lunge, okay? And we're lifting the arms up, just straight up into the air. There's a bend in my back just because of the position, but I'm not actively trying to reach behind myself. I'm just reaching straight up. So I'm not trying to increase the bend in my back. I'm really focused on the hip flexor and stretching that out, okay? So just keep that in mind. We're not doing a back bend there. All right, coming down to our wide squat, and we're just holding that position and then moving our shoulders, twisting. First one in towards the midline, then the other. So we're rounding out the twist, getting that nice twist up to the upper spine. We already hit the lower to mid back with the scorpion twists, and now we're getting the upper back in on the party, in on the action. Everything else is staying still, okay? You don't want your knee trying to cave forward towards your midline. You don't want to be bouncing up and down out of the squat. You're just holding here and twisting those shoulders. All right, jumping jacks. Ooh, there's a train going by. I'm perfectly positioned from the train tracks to where when a train goes by, it feels, you know, lovely and mysterious and a little romantic, and not, oh dear God, that noise again. You know, I'm far enough away that when the horn goes, I'm like, oh yeah, travel and adventure, and not, oh, I think my eardrums are bleeding. Because I worked at a bike place that was right on the train tracks. And every time a train went by, we would literally stop up our ears because it was so loud. So this is nice. This is perfect. All right. If you are doing, where are we? Kick-throughs. I'm present, I promise. If you're doing kick-throughs, remember what we talked about yesterday. We're not setting our hands and feet super far apart, okay? We're keeping them pretty close together so that my standing arm can have the shoulder directly over the wrist, and my standing leg can be at a 90-degree angle with the knee pointing up towards the ceiling. And then I can go to the other side, okay? If you're super stretched out, not only is your shoulder going to be pushed way far away, but you're also more likely to have the standing knee caving in, which is going to put some really bad pressures on your knee when you then switch sides, okay? Last, but certainly not least, we've got burpees. So, a nice wave push-up from this plank, keeping those elbows right by your sides, and then a big victory clap up at the top, and we finish out our warm-up sequence on a high note, knowing that we have gone through, booted up all of the systems that we need to make it through the rest of class, like the badasses that we are. So, congratulations, you are just about done, and now it's water time. All right, woo. Everybody sit, well, don't necessarily sit, but grab some water. Yeah, there's what a crazy random happenstance. There's a train going past our homes that are like, what, 0.1 miles away, it feels like? Oh, God. Living along the orange line. That, I'm glad that you don't notice it. That's good. That's very good. Because, there's a very big difference between living next to, you know, an active commuter type train line and living next to a freight train line. You know, sometimes trains come through, and this one carrying giant windmill components and stuff like that, but very rarely. All right, more water, because I'm dehydrated. I bet you are too. I know I say that a lot. See, and I want you always to know that I understand that this stuff is not as simple as just, oh, drink water on a regular basis. Why didn't I ever think of that? Okay? Because I struggle with it too. We all do. I will remind you of these things because sometimes it's really helpful to have that outside voice reminding of you of these things. But I also want to be clear that I am not perfect at these things. And I recognize that it takes time and it takes work to be able to build that up. It's not a straight line of progress, and we're all in it together, my friends. We are all moving through this together. All right. Speaking of moving through this together, we're just going to do a lot of tabatas today, my friends, and we're going to do one exercise for each so we can really focus in on what we're doing. So let's start with turtle jumps. That's what we're starting with. So let me put these pieces together so I don't fall over on stream. That would be great. And then for turtle anything, we know that the first move, rocking up onto our shoulders and then up onto our feet, okay? If you need assistance, you can push yourself up with a hand or bring one knee down to the floor and sort of rock yourself up. But I really recommend working towards being able to use the momentum to carry you up onto your feet, because it makes the whole exercise easier. So rock and jump, rock and jump, okay? And that's it. And we're just doing that 8 times and just rocking and rolling, my friends. So everybody head back to your mats. The other nice thing is that tabata means that the first sound does not mean go. That's our stop sound, our rest sound. Then we get our knock, knock, knock. So we prepare, and then we go. So that is what we're talking about when we are talking about starting on time, is as soon as I hear the beginning of that horn, I am moving. And I don't stop moving until I hear that horn, okay? And so those are 2 of the 3 components of the bare minimum. Starting on time, stopping on time. With tabatas, it's super easy because the timer is giving us distinctive audio cues for everything. It's telling us when to stop with one horn. It's telling us to prepare, get ready with another sound. And it's telling us to start with a whole fanfare, excited fanfare of sound. So really, the more that you can do to just have those sounds sort of sink in. It's like the Pavlov's bell kind of a thing, where you hear knock, knock, knock in that particular cadence, and you go, oh, well, I've got to prep for my next interval to start. And that helps to take a lot of processing out of the conscious levels of processing. I no longer have to waste conscious energy being like, okay, am I ready? When am I supposed to start? How much longer do I have? Because I have absorbed, I have memorized that sequence of sounds. So that's why I use the same timer each time, because it's just so much more helpful than trying to switch sounds around, you know, and then you're introducing unnecessary variation. Variation in exercises and in, you know, timer structures can be really useful, but in terms of the sounds themselves, I don't want to be confusing you. So whenever I say tabata, you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's those 3 sounds and one giant air horn that you hear at the very end to let you know, awesome, I'm done with this. I can move forward. Oh man. All right, my friends, second to last interval right here. Knock, 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 getting ourselves ready and checking in on that form. We want it to be just as good here in the 7th interval as it was in the first. And same for the last interval, okay? So definitely check in. One of the things about this exercise that I don't talk a ton about is the knee positioning when you push up onto your feet. Another reason why I really want you to use the momentum is because it makes a difference between getting up onto your feet with the knees just going straight over and getting up onto your feet with your knees sort of waggling around in weird directions, okay? So pay attention to knee positioning in that exercise. All right. Oh, yeah, I forgot. See, this is also the nice thing about doing class planning ahead of time, is that I had forgotten that when I was planning classes, I was sort of looking around, casting an eye around online to try and find a new exercise. And so we are going to do high knee jumps today. So we've done squat jumps, you know, where we take that squat and we jump straight-legged, land back down. We've also done flaming scarlets, where we're jumping back and forth and we're trying to get our knees as high up off the ground as possible. This is going to sort of combine the two. So squat down, not a huge squat, maybe like 45-degree angle. And jumping up and bringing those knees up as high as you can. Oh man, I'm going to apologize in advance to my downstairs neighbor. So that's the exercise, my friends. So let's get back to our mats. Make sure you've had some water, taken some deep breaths. You are ready, steady. You're feeling excited, taking your feet about hip width, and okay, really high. So we want the knees to be trying to come up towards the chest. Okay, like that. And if you need to start with slower speed, go for it, okay? Again, we talk about this when we introduce new exercises, when you start a new program, always approach like you're a beginner, like you don't know anything, okay? Rather than coming in and going, oh, I got this, don't even bother to explain it to me. I am totally golden, because there are always more things to learn. And it is more important to me, as I've said on many occasions, that you get the form correct, all right? So I don't want you flinging yourself around in the air. I want you, if you just need to go, okay? If you need to do it that slowly, if you need to really focus in, that's fine. Do that, okay? Honestly, I'm doing that right now because this is my first time trying this exercise, and I knew it would be intense, but yeah, it's not as cut and dried as I assumed. So even I went into this going, it'll probably be fine. I don't need to practice this before we start class. And you see, that's don't be like me, kids. Don't be like me. Well, or at least be willing to admit your errors. So feel free. We're going to do these jumps one more time in class. So feel free to really take this set and just slowly but surely go, okay, so I squat, jump, pull those knees up, land, and again, okay? So take your time. Don't worry, you will have an opportunity to come back to this exercise, I promise. So we can really dig in and make sure that we're getting the form down before we try to ramp up speed-wise, all right? That may mean that it's not hitting your cardiovascular system as much as you would want it to today, and that is fine. Again, form. Start with form before anything else, before ramping up to max cardio, before getting your heart rate sky high. Make sure your form is good, all right? And that sometimes means that we don't really get our heart rate up as high as we want to because we have something more important to focus on right now, okay? Last set for now, my dears. So just big jumps, bringing those knees up as high as they can go, And then we stop. There we go. Oh my goodness. Ooh. That was fun. It is very different in practice than watching the YouTube video I was watching to learn that. So, so today's class is all around jumps, basically, as you are no doubt starting to notice. You know, sometimes you just really want to blow all of that energy out of your body. You need to really just focus in on moving as intensely as you can, and jumps are great for that. So next thing we are going to do is going to be side-to-side mat jumps. One more sip of water. Look, it's important. All right. Woo. Got some on my feet. Good job. So, our side-to-side mat jumps, y'all know what these are about at this point. So you start on, you know, I just don't think that you are a good thing to have over there, small table. Okay, starting on one side of your mat. So if you're on your left side of the mat, then stand on the left leg. Let the right leg cross behind you, putting all of that weight, all of that pressure, power on your forward leg, and then jumping all the way across to the other side. Recreate this position on the other side. You can let your hand come down for balance, not putting weight on it. And then we just go back the way we came. We just go side to side, all right? Be spatially aware, because for many of us, we are doing this class in spaces that are not designed well for exercise. So whenever I give y'all this particular exercise, I have to rein it in for myself. So normally, I would want you to really be focusing on going the entire distance of your mat, end to end, for these jumps. But as you can see, I'm not doing that because I have these bookcases here. And if I were to do that, I would end up slamming a foot into a bookcase, injuring myself, knocking things over, you know, just a lot of mayhem would ensue. So this is one of those places where I use that spatial awareness and I go, okay, I need to rein it in. And maybe that means that I can't jump as far. So maybe I try to focus on jumping a little bit faster, you know, putting more jumps in than I might be able to do if I was going the entire distance. So a lot of times when we are starting out a new exercise, we're doing that calculus between distance traveled and speed achieved. So we are either able to jump the entire length of the mat, or we're able to get a bunch of reps in during those 20 seconds, but not always both. And that's fine. Generally, you will notice the ability to speed up as you become stronger, as your stamina improves, and as you get more used to the exercise. But just to be aware, and again, we want to make sure that we're focusing on form. So I don't want to be desperately trying to achieve both distance and speed, and doing so by just sort of flinging myself around willy-nilly, because that's not great. So yeah, it all comes down to form. Focus on form first, and you will get the other places that you want to go. Promise. Oh, all right. We are moving right along. Back around to that second to last interval. So again, for this, all of the power for the jump is coming from my front leg. So I'm not pushing off of the back leg to push myself forward. I am really trying to push using only the front leg. The back leg's crossed behind me just for balance, okay? So keep that in mind. It's a very different exercise if you're trying to push yourself forward or get a little bit of a running start, rather than just focusing on driving into the ground and pushing off of that front leg, okay? All right, my friends. Nice, nice, nice. Herg, let's grab some water. All right, and I have good news. We're going to do 3 more intervals. It's going to be the same exercises. So you already know what we're doing, and you get a second opportunity to dig in and check on your form and see if there is some way that you want to increase your challenge rating for this one, for this time round. So again, we're going to start with the turtle jumps, then we're going to do the high knee jumps, and then we're going to do the side to side mat jumps. So same 3 things that we were just doing. But this means that you don't have to spend time going, oh, what was the exercise she told me? Okay, it was this one. All right, and here's how I do the form, and here's where I need to position myself. You've already done that work. Woo, woo, woo. So you can really just focus in on increasing speed and reps, power for the jump, whatever you want to focus on. Find something and go, okay, this is going to be my challenge to myself. You know, last time I was getting X number of reps done in the interval. This time I want to get X plus 1 or X plus 2 in, okay? Keeping in mind, 20 seconds, not a ton of time. So there is going to be an upper limit to how many reps you're able to get in and still maintain the form. But that still leaves us plenty of room to maneuver, my friends. All right, so we are starting with our turtle jumps. Huzzah, huzzah. So everybody, back to your mat. Give thanks that you know exactly what's going on. You know how the class will end, not in fire, but in side-to-side mat jumps. Ooh, that was a hell of a weird reference for class, but yep, here we are. Thanks, Robert Frost. You ever have those days where you're like, I'm feeling a little punchy today, and I think it's coming through in my patter. Because I am definitely having that day. And that's A-okay by me. Oh, man. Yeah. I love that. You know how much I love these turtle exercises. Just having the opportunity to sort of roll around with, not with abandon, but to feel like it's with abandon, you know? We don't have a ton of exercises that we really rely on momentum for in the same way that we do for our turtle exercises. And it's just every time that we do these, it reminds me of being a kid and going to somebody's yard and doing somersaults and just throwing yourself around wildly and with abandon. And we don't get to do that enough as adults. So hopefully you feel something similar when we do these. And if not, then hopefully you get some sort of vicarious enjoyment from me describing it. That's why you take class, right? Vicarious enjoyment from me, the teacher. There we go. That's what it's all about here. All right, my friends. So again, reminding ourselves, this is our second time through. We know what we're about. We know what the form is. We have a sense of where we are strongest, where our opportunities for improvement are, and we are getting to really have some fun. Just be like, okay, let's see what I can do. Let's see how I can challenge myself. And you will find lots of ways to challenge yourselves. And that's one of the most fun things about taking class. But you'll notice with the momentum, it is so important, because if you're not getting that momentum and you're just sort of stopping here, and then you have to push yourself up, and then you have to restart the exercise basically to jump up. So whereas if I'm doing it with full momentum, you'll see in a second, I can just whee, and it's one fluid motion, right? Rather than getting to here and then being like, oh, now I have to jump. It's immediately harder because I lost that momentum, all right? So really, really try your best to harness momentum as just as important a component of the form as knee positioning, okay? Because it is. It is absolutely a component of the exercise, and it's an important one. So really, I really want you to aim for that. You may not be there today, and that's fine, but know that that's what you want to build towards. All right. Yeah, good job. Oh, that's what I should have done. Ooh, well, the good news is you got off a little easy on that one. The bad news is I just re-looked at my class plan and realized that I was planning to ramp up the amount of work time from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. And yeah, so the last two sets, still the same exercises, high knees and then side to side mat jumps, but we're adding 10 seconds of work. Yee. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, my friends. Don't worry, you'll be fine, I promise. Promise, you will be fine. And then we'll get to stretch out, cool down, and, you know, head off into the evening and do whatever else it is that we want to do. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So I don't have to tell you what we're doing. You already know we're doing turtle jumps. Or not turtle jumps, high knee jumps. We've already done them. Isn't that great? I'm really glad that I made this plan for myself, because clearly my brain is having a little trouble focusing in certain moments. And so I'm very glad that A, this plan was already made, and B, I made it a pretty simple plan. I was sort of anticipating that today was going to be hard for me. And I was like, okay, I want to make sure it's a good class, but also an easy one to teach. And well done, past me. Good job. All right. So we're going back to those high knee jumps. Oh man, they are intense. It's impossible, I think, to land lightly. So hopefully you don't have downstairs neighbors. But if you do, be aware that you are not landing lightly. And you know, that also also may slow you down as well. Just that the trying to be a good neighbor thing, which is not a bad reason, you know? All right. Woo, man, it is so different from those squat jumps the other kind of squat jump that I do, because those you can really get a rhythm going. You know, you're just jumping here and then down, and you're sort of bouncing. These, my knees are coming with me in a way they aren't in other jump styles. And that, again, they're moving through space. And what were we talking about? We're talking about how you can sacrifice, sometimes you have to sacrifice speed for distance traveled. And I am definitely feeling that in these high knee jumps. Holy crow. Wow. Holy crow. What a weird saying. One of my best friends started saying that when she had kids, you know, as a swearing substitute. And it's stuck in my head now. It will be forever. Her oldest is 13, but that phrase, that 13-year-old will be 33, and I'll still be saying holy crow. Because this is the circle of life, I think. Oh my goodness, all right. Coming back around. How are you feeling on these? How are you feeling on these? These are, I will confess, they are a lot more intense than I was expecting. I want you to really exhale in the effort. Props to Steve for bringing me that phrase. I love it, and it makes so much sense. So when we talk about exhaling on the effort, what is the big effort that we are making in this exercise? Jumping and pulling our knees up. And so you want to exhale. That gives you some impetus, some push, and helps to, some of it's a psychological thing. There's just this weird sort of psychological, like, I am propelling myself by exhaling, you know, which is not really what you're doing, but it kind of becomes what you're doing, because the psychological then translates into the physical. Our brains are so much more connected to exercise than we give them credit for. You know, we tend towards this assumption that brain and body are like these two separate things and never the twain shall meet, and it's not true. It is not true. Your brain is intimately involved in the process of working out, and it needs to be involved. You need to be paying attention to that connection, because it's important. And if you're over here going, no, just leave my brain over there, this is all about body movement, it's like, well, no. Your brain is actually a part of your body. It's not floating above your body. It is, in fact, encased in the exact same skeleton, and it is absolutely a part of everything that we do here. So sometimes I will give you visualization tricks and tips, and they may feel a little weird if you're not used to using that approach in your fitness programs. But I promise you, there's a reason for it. And that reason is getting better at what you're doing, making it easier, helping to strengthen and stabilize and increase power, and all of the things that we are trying to do, okay? Oh man, still trying to figure out what to do with my arms for this. So we're having this great experience together where we're sort of discovering this exercise together. I've been thinking about doing like a monthly stream where I pull together a list of exercises I want to try out, or maybe, you know, post on social media and ask people to give me suggestions for things that they would love to see in class. And like, yeah, I've been thinking about having, you know, maybe a monthly stream where it's just like, let's get together and try some new stuff and see how it feels and see whether it's something that we enjoy and we want to work into class, because, you know, it's easy for things to start feeling kind of stale after a while, and we want to avoid that. It's one of the reasons that we like introducing variation into class. It's one of the reasons why I went out and found a new exercise. And, you know, maybe it's not, maybe I'm not great at it yet, but it's sure engaging my brain in the process, and that is really cool. So, yeah, I maybe I'll start that in January. I feel like that could be a lot of fun. And, oh, sorry, friends. Just need to, there we go. Just cracking everything. Yeah, I feel like that could be a really fun way, both for you to suggest exercises that maybe I don't know about, and for me to sort of go on some research strolls through the internet and see what we can find and integrate into our classes. So I guess stay tuned for that. It won't start this month. This month we're gonna get through December 2020 by the skin of our teeth, and that is a-okay. But yeah, I think for next month, I think that could be really fun. All right, my friends, we've only got one more set. Again, 30-second work intervals, okay? And still the 10-second rest. It's going to be those side-to-side mat jumps, and then we will have reached the end of class, and it will be time to stretch out. Yeah, stretching. We love stretching. Stretching. It's good. It's good to cool down. It's good to, you know, work with those muscles when they're warm, a little bit more pliable, more amenable to stretching out, all that jazz. So before we get there, we must, in fact, do our final run. So everybody back to your mats. Hopefully you had some water and didn't, you know, run through all of your water the way that I did. And this is going to be our last section. So keeping in mind, as always, we're here at the end of class, which means we are not needing to save energy for anything else, okay? Any class that we take, even if it's a high energy, high intensity class, you know, we are managing our energy output so that we can make it through the entire hour. Now, we have reached that point, my friends. We have reached that point where we get to just leave all remaining energy on the mat and say, all right, well, I came, I saw, I conquered class, and I'm on the home stretch. I'm running downhill towards the finish line of the race. You know, everybody, all my friends and loved ones are on the sides of the funnel cheering me on, and I am ready to get there. I'm gonna dig in, find those last pockets of energy that I didn't even know were there, and I am going to utilize them right now. Oh, here we go. Oh man, checking in on that spatial awareness, my friends, because I definitely whacked my heel against one of these bookcases. So make sure that you are aware of everything that is around you, everything that you might be at risk of jumping into or knocking into. And don't knock into it. So easy. Isn't that just so frickin' easy? Oh man. Oh, my friends, here, getting towards the end of class. We are feeling a lot of work, a lot of intensity, a new exercise under our belt, and hopefully a new burst of energy to get through the rest of the week. Because, you know, 2020 continues to pull out all the stops. And it's important too that we remind ourselves that just because we flip over to a new year on the calendar doesn't mean that all of our problems are magically solved. Doesn't mean that the pandemic is magically over. Doesn't mean that white supremacy has dismantled itself in the night. Doesn't mean that we haven't still lost people, or lost jobs, lost dreams, had to rebuild from what we thought our lives were going to look like. And, you know, that's hard. It will continue to be hard. But one of the things that I do love about, you know, the beginning of the year is that it provides us a reminder that time does continue to move forward, and that we do continue to move forward. And as long as we continue to do that, there is still hope. There is still opportunity for growth and change and new discoveries and new people, and that is really wonderful. So if you're grieving, you know, coming to the end of 2020 and just feeling really sad for what could have been, that's okay. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself feel overwhelmed, all right? Because all of that is real and all of it should be honored. But remember that you also get to keep moving forward, okay? You get to keep moving forward. You get to keep deciding who you want to be, the kind of person you want to be, the kind of world you want to live in, the kind of beauty that you want to surround yourself with, the art that you want to surround yourself with, the people. And you get to go out and work towards that world every single day. And I am so proud of you for making it through this year. And I'm so happy that you've come with me on my journey to build out whatever happiness and goodness and strength that I can in the world. All right. Let's do a little stretching, my friends. Let's start with everybody's favorite quad stretch. So if you haven't watched me do this, I was recently notified that it can be hard to see in the stream. So the leg that I'm going to be stretching the quad on, I'm going to fold it outside. So I've got my heel on the outside of my hip, but I'm going to pull it so it's resting right against my hip, or as close as I can. The other leg, I'm just letting the knee fall open. Here's my foot right next to that working knee. And the only thing I don't want to do as I'm getting into position on this stretch is let the knee pull off the ground, okay? Same as when we're doing those scorpion twists and we don't want to let the elbow come off the ground. Same thing here. So now we just let ourselves bring our backs backward, only as far as we need to get to feel a really intense stretch here along our quad. For some of you, that's going to be here, and that's great. Don't push yourself past where you can go, okay? And you'll be able to tell. For some of you, you'll be able to get down to your elbows and then be like, okay, that stretch is pretty good there. For some of you, you can join me down lying on the floor, okay? So get yourself settled in whichever one of those spaces feels right. Take some breaths. Make sure you move slowly into the stretch so that you're not accidentally activating the quad and causing it to try to contract. And now we're going to take 4 deep breaths. Each time you inhale, I want you to visualize the oxygen going to where you feel the sensation the most intensely. And each time you exhale, try to sink a little bit more deeply into the stretch. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Nice. Now we will not really gracefully push ourselves back up to a seated position. And don't move this leg under its own steam. I want you to take one hand to the knee, one hand to the ankle, and unfold it manually. So it's stretched out in front of you. Bring the other leg to meet it. And then just shake those knees out. And then flex the feet and point and flex and point. Circle the ankles in one direction and then the other direction. All right, and now we will do the same thing on the other side, okay? So same notes in terms of getting into position. That heel is right up against your hip. We're going to move slowly into position again. We don't want the muscle to try and contract because we're lengthening it right now. And if it tries to contract while we're lengthening it, then it's just going to, you're going to get a lot more micro tears. There's a theory that that's why we end up with delayed onset muscle soreness, and it's just not what we're trying to do. We are trying to stretch that muscle out. So slowly into position. Let yourself settle here. We want to make sure that we're sort of evening out the amount of time that we spend in the stretch, so that, I don't spend so much time actually explaining things on the first side that we get a super long stretch over there and then come to the second side and you're done in 2 seconds. I always feel that in yoga classes in particular. It drives me nuts. I always feel very off center, which is not the goal. All right, so now let's do our 4 deep breaths again. Inhale, oxygen to the stretched muscle. Exhale, sink more deeply into the stretch. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right, and carefully back up. Unfolding using the hands, not the muscles. There we go. Legs straight out in front of you. Shake out those knees. Flex those feet and point and flex and point. Circle the ankles, first one direction and then the other direction. And let's just sit cross-legged, try and have nice straight spine, and we're just going to reach arm out and across our body. Let's just get that shoulder tricep stretch in there. Oh, I definitely could use it, and I'm guiding the stretches. Oh no, help. I've gone mad with power. The horror. All right, let that down. Other arm out and across. I've got my hand just above the elbow and I'm pulling the upper arm, sort of flattening it into my chest. Oh, That's a nice stretch. That feels real good. It's a simple stretch. I feel like in my head, it's never as effective as I generally find it when I actually do the stretch. All right. Okay, my friends. Look at that. Another Wednesday in the books. We had some fun. We learned a new exercise. We learned that that exercise is a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be, which is, it's important to, you know, stay humble or be humbled, as the case may be. But I really, really appreciate having you all here with me today. You know, this is always one of my favorite parts of the day, getting to hang out, getting to teach class, and, you know, just talk with y'all about whatever's in my mind at the time. And it means a lot to me to have y'all here. It's wonderful. Let's keep doing it into 2021. Woo! I love that thigh stretch. It is my favorite damn thing in the entire world, which obviously you all know at this point because I never miss an opportunity to use that thing. I learned that in 3rd grade, if I recall correctly. I was still in upstate New York, and I was going to like kind of a hippie private school that I loved. It was actually a really great school. And I just have this memory of a Frenchman whose name I do not recall, but I think he also taught us recorder. And there was one day where we were just led in this little like yoga class. You know, we were all 8, so the intensity of the yoga class is probably up for debate, but that stretch was one of the stretches, and I have loved it ever since. So that's, you know, 30 some odd years at this point, or almost 30 some odd years. But yeah, that stretch, I will stand by that stretch. And it's nice because gravity gives us an assist. It's not like the standing quad stretch where you're having to work that balance in. Don't. Well, now I have to do that. Okay, who wants to send me a recorder so that I can do that quad stretch while playing a recorder? All right. More 2021 goals. What's the matter? You don't think that would be a really great calming way to end a class with me tootling on the recorder while we stretch out our quads? I think that would be a great way to end class. Oh my God. See, I've tempted fate now. I've put it out to the internet. A recorder is absolutely going to show up on my doorstep at some point. I have no doubt. And you know, when that day comes, you'll never see it coming. Oh my goodness. All right, my loves. I would say that was a good class. And we've still got 2 more classes this week. So Friday at 6 p.m. Hey everybody, here's Wonderwall. No, I can't. I don't want to get my stream muted. Friday at 6 p.m. we have Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. Oh, I could absolutely play Wonderwall on the recorder. It's gonna be great. I'm just gonna. Oh man, I see now. I'm having this image of me being like the mystery recorder player who just like sneaks up to your window, starts playing Wonderwall, and then runs away before you have a chance to notice who it is. Oh my God. Where was I? What's happening? I'm trying to close that class. That's what I was doing. You can follow me on Facebook. I'll let you guys continue to debate the recorder in the chat. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel, Blanche Case Fitness, is where I upload the VODs from these streams. There's also going to be a lot of supplemental material going up there, so definitely head over and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness, and your donations are always very much appreciated as I continue to build up my fitness business overall. And if you want to help keep building and growing this channel, getting ourselves closer and closer to affiliate status where we may be able to unlock those 3 emotes, then please do give us a follow. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. I love what I do. I love being here, having these streams here, having workouts that are awesome and effective and accessible to a wide range of people. If you have an internet connection and enough room on the floor, you can do one of these classes, and I love it when you'll join me. So yeah, please help keep growing this community. Woo woo! And happy Hanukkah to everybody who is celebrating. One of my dear friends showed up on my doorstep, appropriately masked today, with a slice of brisket in an individually packaged Ziploc bag, since she's not able to throw her usual Hanukkah party this year. She decided to be the brisket fairy. And so I'm looking forward to that. But yes, thank you all for being here. Make sure to rehydrate. Go fill that water up again. Make sure to have a good dinner. Have a nice shower. And I will see y'all back here on Friday. Well, have a great night.